So dear 6th semester students, today I will talk on the spleen, especially the histological structure of spleen. So first of all, spleen is a lymphatic organ connected to the blood vascular system, and it acts as a filter for blood and plays an important role in the immune response of the body. So the spleen is a wedge-shaped or bean-shaped organ lying mainly in the left hypochondrium and partly in the epigastrium. So, so uh, the spleen is a large encapsulated bean-shaped organ that is situated on the left side of the body, below the diaphragm, and it contains T and B lymphocytes as well as many phagocytes, and is a major component of the mononuclear phagocyte system. Okay, it varies in size and weight during the lifetime of an individual, but in an adult, basically, um, it weighs about 200 gram, and it is usually about 12 centimeter long or 8 centimeter broad and 3 to 4 centimeter in thickness. So the spleen has diaphragmatic and visceral surfaces, and the diaphragmatic surface is in contact with the inner surface of the diaphragm. Okay, so coming to the location of this spleen, it is located in the left upper quadrant region of the abdomen. More precisely, it is found posterior to the stomach and anterior and inferior to the left hemidiaphragm at the level of ribs 9 to 10. On the medial side, the spleen is in relation to the left kidney, and inferiorly it sits on the left colic flexure, that is splenic flexure. Means it lies just beneath the left half of the diaphragm, close to 9, 10 and 11 ribs, and on the left side of the abdomen, and pleural cavity separates spleen and diaphragm from the rib. Okay, next, coming to the external feature of the spleen part. The spleen has two ends, three borders, two surfaces, two angles, and hilum. So it has diaphragmatic, visceral, and colic surface, and anterior, posterior, and inferior border. The diaphragmatic surface is convex, smooth, and is directed upward, backward, and to the left, except at its upper end, where it is directed slightly to the middle. It is the undersurface of the diaphragm which separates it from the 9th, 10th, and 11th ribs of the left side, and the intervening lower border of the left lung. And the visceral surface is divided by a bridge into two regions, an anterior or gastric and a posterior or renal region. The visceral surface is related to the left kidney, stomach and splenic flexure of colon. Each surface is covered with visceral peritoneum, which reflected as double layer onto the left kidney as splenicorenal ligament. And anteriorly the border separated the surface from concave visceral surface where hilus found. Hilus is the part where vessels enter and leave the organ. Okay. Then coming to the developmental part of the spleen. The spleen develops from mesenchymal cells in the dorsal mesogastrium during the 5th week of gestation. Actually, the human spleen arises in the week 5 within the dorsal mesentery as proliferating mesenchyme overlying the dorsal pancreatic endoderm, and the cells required for its hemopoietic function arise from the yolk sac wall and near dorsal aorta. So the spleen generates both red and white cells in the second trimester. And here is another part, is the accessory spleen. When the hillock fails to unify, in most probably it is 20% of people of the total population, here hillock fails to unify means the number of nodules develop which actually fuse to form a lobulated spleen, but sometimes these nodules fail to fuse and form the accessory spleen. See here in the structure the lobulated spleen, lobule-like structure, and this may be found in the derivatives of dorsal mesogastrium, in broad ligament of uterus, in the spermatic cord region. So coming to the blood supply of spleen, one must remember that spleen is a blood filter, and you must have to assume that it is a highly vascular organ. So blood from the splenic artery enters the spleen through the hilum. From there the artery divides into smaller branches that enter the splenic parenchyma following the course of trabeculae. So together with the trabeculae, the arteries branch throughout the parenchyma and gradually decrease in diameter. Eventually, smaller arterioles leave the dense connective tissue of trabeculae, entering the parenchyma, where they are surrounded by pulse. The artery in the center of this region is referred as central artery. Okay, or in broader sense, we can say the tortuous splenic artery arises from the celiac trunk and runs along the upper border of the body and tail of the pancreas, to which it gives small branches. ঠিক আছে, সেলিয়াক ট্রাঙ্কের থেকে স্প্ল্যানিক আর্টারিগুলো অ্যারাইজ হয়ে ওপরের বর্ডারটা পুরো দিয়ে উপরের বর্ডারটা দিয়ে রান করে বডির টেল রিজিয়নে পুরো বডিতে রান করে এসে প্যানক্রিয়াসের টেল রিজিয়নে পৌঁছায় এবং সেখানে এগুলো ছোট ছোট ব্রাঞ্চে সেপারেট হয়ে যায়, ডিভাইড হয়ে যায়। The short gastric and left gastroepiploic branches pass between the layers of the gastrosplenic ligament. গ্যাস্ট্রোস্প্ল্যানিক লিগামেন্টের মধ্য দিয়ে ছোট গ্যাস্ট্রিক আর গ্যাস্ট্রোএপিপ্লোইক ব্রাঞ্চেস যেগুলো থাকে সেগুলো পাস হয়। The main splenic artery generally divides into superior and inferior branches, which in turn subdivide into several segmental branches. যে মেইন স্প্ল্যানিক আর্টারি যেটা থাকে সেটা সুপিরিয়র আর ইনফেরিয়র ব্রাঞ্চে প্রথমত ডিভাইড হয় এবং পরবর্তীতে এগুলো আরও অনেকগুলো সাব ডিভিশনে, আরও অনেকগুলো সেগমেন্টেড ব্রাঞ্চে ডিভাইড হয়ে যায়। ওকে, দেন we have the venous drainage portion. In venous drainage, the splenic vein is formed at the hilum of the spleen. It runs a straight course behind the pancreas and it joins the superior mesenteric vein behind the neck of pancreas to form the portal vein. Its tributaries are the short gastric, left gastroepiploic, pancreatic and inferior mesenteric veins. Then একটা কথা মেনশন করতে হবে এখানে আর্টেরিয়াল সাপ্লাইয়ের ক্ষেত্রে, যে আর্টেরিয়ালসগুলো শেষ হয় by opening freely into the splenic pulp. Splenic pulpের মধ্যে ফ্রিলি গিয়ে এগুলো ওপেন হয়ে যায়, যেখানে তাদের টিউবুলার স্ট্রাকচারটা ওরা হারিয়ে ফেলে। They lose their tubular character and the endothelial cells become altered, presenting the branched appearance. And by this they acquire the processes which are directly connected with the processes of reticular cells of the pulp. পাল্পের মধ্যে যে রেটিকুলার সেল প্রসেসগুলো থাকে সেগুলোর সঙ্গে ওরা ডাইরেক্টলি তখন কানেক্ট হয়ে যায়, কারণ ওদের তখন টিউবুলার কোনো স্ট্রাকচার থাকে না, টিউবুলার কোনো ক্যারেক্টার থাকে না, ওরা ফ্রি ওরা তখন মানে ফ্রিলি ওপেন্ড স্ট্রাকচারে থাকে। তো খুব ইজিলি এরা পাল্পের যে রেটিকুলার সেলসগুলো থাকে এদের সঙ্গে মিশে যেতে পারে, এদের সঙ্গে কানেক্টেড হয়ে যেতে পারে। Next is the nerve supply of the spleen. Here it is predominantly supplied by the sympathetics from celiac plexus, and the fibers supply the blood vessels and smooth muscles of trabeculae. Okay, and coming to the lymphatic drainage part, normally the spleen doesn't have any kind of lymphatic drainage because the spleen filters blood, not the lymph. That is why it receives no afferent lymphatic vessels. However, efferent vessels are there from stroma and capsule that terminate in pancreatic splenic lymph node. Then coming to the most important part of this class, of this topic, this is the histological structure of spleen. Here The spleen basically being an intraperitoneal organ. It is covered by a layer of visceral peritoneum, and underneath the peritoneum there is the capsule of the spleen encasing its parenchyma. Okay, the capsule of the spleen consists of dense, irregular fibroblastic or fibroelastic tissue. The connective tissue of the capsule contains contractile cells called myofibroblasts, and by producing weak contraction of the capsule, these cells help to discharge the blood stored within the spleen into the general circulation. The capsule also allows the spleen to significantly increase in size when necessary and discharge a large amount of blood to contribute to the tissue's oxygenation, like during physical exercise. When you do physical exercise, then you need more oxygen, and this oxygen comes from the blood discharged by the spleen. And at the level of the hilum, the capsule splits into several septi called trabeculae, which penetrate into the parenchyma of the spleen and partly divides its tissue. And like every other organ, the spleen consists of stroma and parenchyma. The stroma of the spleen is composed mainly of a network of reticular connective tissue, and this network or mesh provides support for blood cells and the cells of immune systems, that is lymphocytes, macrophage and dendritic cells. And the parenchyma of the spleen is divided into two functionally and morphologically distinct compartments, means the red pulp and the white pulp, divided by a tissue layer called marginal zone. Okay, now coming to the white pulp portion, the white pulp of the spleen is made of three different compartments. What are the three different compartments? The periarterial lymphatic sheath, that is pulse, the lymphatic follicles and the marginal zone. The pulse consists of a central artery, which is a branch of the splenic artery, surrounded by a sheath of lymphoid tissue. And here this lymphoid tissue organized into two layers, the inner layer and the outer layer. The inner layer is mainly composed of two lymphocytes, which is why it is called the T zone, and the outer layer has a more diverse cellular morphology containing T and B lymphocytes. And the branches of the central arterioles are surrounded by the sharply defined areas of B lymphocytes comprising of the lymphatic follicles of the spleen. And there are two types of lymphatic follicles depending on the feature of the B lymphocytes that comprise them, the primary follicle and the secondary follicle. And the primary follicle is the follicle that consists mainly of small immature lymphocytes, And the secondary follicles that arise from primary follicles as the lymphocytes mature and increase in size, and they differ from the primary follicle by a distinct centrally positioned zone that is called the germinal center. And the germinal centers are the sites where lymphocytes mature and acquire the ability to produce antibodies. Okay. Then marginal zone is found on the very edge of the lymphatic follicles, containing different immune cells that are well equipped and starting an appropriate immune response. Okay. This marginal zone basically is a broad region primarily occupied by relatively large memory B cells, which gives light impression after routine staining. And here the follicles by a very irregular capillary blood vessels are called the marginal sinus. Next, coming to the red pulp portion, the red pulp occupies the majority of the stroma tissue of the spleen. It consists of the cords of Billroth and splenic sinusoids. The cords of Billroth, that is splenic cord, are the cellular aggregations supported by the reticular connective tissue, and they appear as stripes and consist of macrophages, plasmocytes, and blood cells. And these splenic sinusoids are found between the cords of Billroth. They are filled with blood and give the red pulp its distinguishable red appearance. Okay. And the spleen is made of red pulp and white pulp, where 76 to 79% of normal spleen is red pulp only. Okay. So, as the blood slowly flows through the sinusoids, where it is exposed to macrophages from the cords of Billroth, waiting for foreign antigens that can appear in the blood. The red pulp functions as a blood filter for various toxins, destroying them before they enter the systemic circulation and get the chance to spread throughout the body and damage other organs. ঠিক আছে? Here in the red pulp portion there are venous sinuses, a lining of endothelial cells that are positioned in a parallel and connected by stress fibers to annular fibers. And the contractile and the contraction of the stress fibers allows the formation of slits between the endothelial cells, which regulates the passage of blood or abnormal red cells attempting to squeeze become damaged and are devoured by macrophages. So, the cells found in the red pulp are B and T lymphocytes, erythrocytes, granulocytes, plasma cells, hematopoietic cells, plasmablasts that migrate from the follicles, and the outer pulse after antigen specific differentiation, and macrophages. Then splenic cells, those are large rounded cells having amoeboid movement and often contain pigment and red blood corpuscles in their interior. Then the cells of reticulum, which may contain pigment granules in their cytoplasm. Okay, this was about the red pulp. Okay. See the structure diagram over here. This portion is white pulp portion, which have mostly the B cells, and this portion is the red pulp portion. This portion is the red pulp portion, which have red pulp veins in open circulation condition. And then coming to the functions of the spleen. Basically, the spleen produce lymphocytes that aid our immune system, which produce antibodies, remove old and damaged red blood cells, and acts as a reservoir of blood in times of shock or hemorrhage, and preserves iron during filtration, which is important for synthesizing the hemoglobin. Coming to the very specific part, specific functional parts. The spleen is important for hemopoiesis. In adult, hemopoiesis can start in certain disease like chronic myeloid leukemia and myelosclerosis. Then phagocytosis. The spleen is an important component of reticuloendothelial system. So phagocytosis is a very important function of the spleen, and under antigenic stimulation, their lymphopoiesis takes place for cellular responses and increased formation of plasma cells to the humoral responses. And RBC can be stored in the spleen and released into the circulation when needed. Okay. Then functions in a very specific manner. You can see here the immune functions. In immune function part, being the largest lymphoid organ, the spleen is one of the major sites for initiating and modulating the immune response. It can detect and present specific pathogens in the blood and produce an immune response to defend the body against them. The specific structure of the spleen makes it a key spot for defense against encapsulated bacteria. This is why people without a spleen are predisposed for some bacterial infections like pneumonia. Here in the spleen, the non-specific opsonins, properdins, and tuftsins are synthesized, and these antibodies are B and T cell are of a B and T cell origin and bind to the specific receptors on the surface of the macrophages and leukocytes, stimulating their phagocytic, bactericidal, and tumoricidal activity. It can also take part as the monoclonal antibodies may exert local effects in the spleen and be cleared by this organ. And coming to the filter function portion, the macrophages in the reticulum capture cellular and non-cellular material from the blood and plasma. This will include the removal of platelets and RBC which are damaged, and this process takes place in the sinuses and the splenic cords by the action of the endothelial macrophages. Iron is removed from the degraded hemoglobin during red cell breakdown and is returned to the plasma. And it also removes the non-cellular material which includes bacteria and in particular the pneumococci. Basically, it removes the senescent and defective red blood cells through a unique organization of its parenchyma and the vasculature. After normal lifespan, RBC will be broken down and some parts recycled, and it removes all the abnormal red blood cells. This is the filter function portion. This is the filter function of spleen. Coming to the pitting portion, here particulate inclusions from the red cells are removed and the repaired red cells are returned to the circulation. Then as storage function or reservoir function, it contains approximately 1/3 of the total body platelets and a significant number of marginated neutrophils. Sequestered cells are available when needed to respond to bleeding or any kind of infection. And the normal human spleen does not sequester or store red blood cells. But an enlarged spleen may contain a much larger proportion of the blood volume. And then coming to the cytopoiesis part, here from the 4th month of intrauterine life, some degrees of hemopoiesis occurs in the fetal spleen, and stimulation of the white pulp may occur following antigenic challenge, resulting in the proliferation of T and B cell and the macrophages. This may also occur in myeloproliferative disorders, thalassemias, and chronic hemolytic anemias. Then coming back to the most important function, the creation of the red blood cell. Here hemopoietic functions up until the 5th month of gestation after the birth, erythropoietic functions cease actually. That's why I have mentioned it again, the important part and the creation of red blood cell. Here after birth, the erythropoietic functions cease except in some hematologic disorders and retains its ability to produce the lymphocytes. Okay, actually this comes under the cytopoiesis part and the hemopoiesis part, both comes under the single heading, the creation of red blood cell or directly the hemopoiesis function heading. So this was all about the spleen. The histology structure part is almost a bit simple, so you just make the notes with diagrams, which is the important part, and grab all the functions. The functions are very important here. With this, a splenic thank you to you all. That's it.